You can get rid of a few cabinet members and appoints minorities to them. But they carry out the same conservative public policies that your group generally opposes. What have you gained if the skin color changes, but the policies really are policies that you oppose?
Well, I would say to that just because we're black does not mean that everybody black is liberal. We have some people who are on the right end of the stick, some of us who are on the left. The point of the matter is that those people of color should recognize that the people who came before them, the people of their race, have fought a long fight and have been discriminated against in the past. And even if they make a lot of money, they realize that a lot of folks that they represent are not under does not fall under that same category. So we believe that if they're a Republican, if they're a Democrat, they will understand the needs and the wishes of African Americans, Latinos, Hispanics, and Asians in this state.
It's about bringing a perspective. Those of us who come out of other racial, ethnic, and cultural communities bring other perspectives to the table. That's what we want the governor to understand. He doesn't walk in our shoes. He hasn't gone through the struggles that many of us have gone through. And even as a Republican who happens to be African American, they will bring a perspective, a consciousness that he doesn't have. That's what we want in the cabinet and throughout state government, because that's what diversity means. That's what it means to have those perspectives at the table so that you make a difference in the policies that you adopt, you make a difference in the hiring, you make a difference in the contracting. You're inclusive of the people of this state, and you are representative in thought and in perspectives.
Have you done any research in terms of whether or not there's any other states that lack diversity? There's a lot of new governors that have come in and made new appointments. Are there any other states that have absolutely no people of color in the cabinet?
We are researching that right now.
And to that point, I don't think it matters. Ohio is a trailblazer. We are a state free. I mean, it shouldn't matter. We definitely shouldn't lower our standards. If there's any state in this union who thinks it's okay not to have people represent of all ethnicities in their cabinet and in their administrations, then something is seriously wrong with this country.
Senator, are you surprised that we're at this point with this new administration? I mean, was there any discussion during the transition that led you to believe that there would be more diversity in a John Kasich administration?
There's nothing in the transition that led me to believe that it would not be. I mean, yes, I am very surprised that in 2011, with a straight face, this governor is still very dogmatic about his determination to say he's not going to adhere to any of those matrix. Like, he's above it all. It absolutely makes no sense. It is an absolute insult to all Ohioans. We all should be insulted by this. So the governor, he has a lot of work to do, and he needs to get to work, and we, as the Ohio Legislative Black Caucus, are here to help him do the work.
Let me also just say this. Nothing about this governor surprises me. It didn't surprise me on his campaign. It doesn't surprise me that he doesn't have any African Americans in his cabinet. It doesn't surprise me that he wants to privatize the Department of Development. Anybody who was bold enough to think that they can run a state agency and not release or have open anything that's going on in the state agency, to me, it's scary in the first place. So no, it doesn't surprise me that he doesn't have any. Nothing on his campaign told us that he would. But we would just expect more, expect better of somebody who runs a state, the 5th largest state in this country.
You use the words, we want our fair share. Do you have a number or a percentage in mind, or what do you mean by that?
Well, I would say this. We're 12.1% of the population. We want 12.1% of the appointments in his cabinet and the positions within his cabinet.
When did you request a meeting with the governor? And Senator Turner, you mentioned that you had talked to him before about that. In what context was that meeting?
We requested a meeting, the Ohio Legislative Black Caucus, 3 weeks ago over the phone. We also then requested one in writing after his office called and wanted to know what we wanted to meet about. And I believe Senator Turner's retreat last week was
the retreat was last Wednesday. The governor came to the Democratic Caucus's retreat, and Senator Tavares brought up the issue, which we knew he was not going to lead that retreat without that issue being brought up. And he made it clear, as he has made in the past, that he doesn't do quotas. And as we tried to explain to him the historical significance that this is not about quotas, he still did not get it. And when I offered to help him, along with some other folks in the room, he said, I'm not going to hire your people. Again, as an African American, to have somebody say that to you, well, you guys know the rest. You understand the historical sting of somebody saying, I'm not going to hire your people. Again, I was not sure if he was talking about African Americans or the folks that I represent from all ethnicities in my district, but to say I'm not going to hire your people is a great insult.
Just want to share the context of why I brought it up. The governor used to represent, Senator Miller, the 15th Senate District, which I represent today. It is a diverse district that includes many racial, ethnic, and cultural communities, even back then when he represented that district. And I brought it up in the context of children looking at the governor and his cabinet and not seeing themselves as young people, not seeing your face or anyone that looks like you in a cabinet that's supposed to be representative, that's supposed to bring forth policies and programs to impact you. And as a child to say, you can't grow up to be a State Department director. You are not wanted. You are not valued. That hurts. And for someone to have children and not understand why that makes a difference, it's beyond me. So that was the context that it was brought up, and those were the comments that were shared back.
As you point out, there are black Republicans, but would you not have to concede that the pool of black Republicans is fairly small, and the pool of conservative black Republicans, which is Kasich's ideology, that's even smaller?
Maybe in this state, but let's remember, he didn't have to select African Americans, Latino, Asian, community members from just the state of Ohio. He could have gone anywhere in these United States, as he has done with the gentleman that he appointed for the Jobs Ohio. So there are many conservative African Americans throughout these United States. To say that you have talked to two, and that's what he shared in our caucus, that he had talked to two within central Ohio and they wouldn't comply, they wouldn't accept, that's not good enough.
Can I also just add, let me just also add, when you talk about finding Republicans, Governor Strickland's administration, other administrations have appointed diverse people. So it doesn't mean that they have to be a Republican. They could be an independent. There are some good Democrats who have good experience that could carry out these jobs. So I don't want us to focus so smallly on they have to be Republican, because other administrations, in fact, that's why you want the diversity, who have the skill sets, who can implement the policies. We want what's best for Ohio. So that may come in a Democrat, it may come in an independent, it may come in a Republican. The second thing that I want to say is that we're here today not as just ourselves. We're here because I know my office and many other offices, because of articles that you all have written and gotten the information out, we are flooded with calls from our constituents who are shocked, who can't believe, and in fact in my office I'm getting resumes as we speak saying, wait a minute, how do I apply? How can I be involved? So we're here at a calling of the community, a calling from our churches, calling from our constituents that are saying, hey, you're our representatives, we need you to stand up and we need you to say something. So we're not just here as individuals for ourselves. And the third thing I just want to add, in a time when I'm just shocked that we're talking about who's qualified, who's not qualified as African Americans, at a time when this country of diverse people came together and elected President Barack Obama as our president, and to say that we can't find people of African descent or people of color that are qualified in a time when we have elected the President of the United States, and I don't think we can get any higher than that. So again, you know, those are excuses, and we're hoping that we can move forward in a 21st century style and be able to go back to our districts and say, hey, you know, there is fair opportunity, you will be represented, and you do have an opportunity to have a seat at the table. There is a high unemployment rate, so we have a lot of people that's been laid off with great skill sets, from corporations to small businesses, that can really come here and help move this Ohio forward. So at a time when unemployment is really high, it's shocking that we can't find people that are qualified of color to help move our state forward.